listen, Tony, I know you did a good thing first, and I know you've been lying low for a long time, so I want you to take it easy for a while.
For this retrospective, let's head back to Liberty City, USA for an in-depth look at Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories is the 6th game in the GTA series, released in 2005 for the PSP. I knew I was eventually going to continue my GTA Retrospective series, and I figured I'd get this one out of the way.
Going on. I don't know how you've gotten this far. I don't know how somebody hasn't put a bullet in your Mother Teresa head yet.
Hey. Liberty City Stories is a game that deserves some special mention beyond the obvious. When discussing this game, it's easy to get caught up in the fact that it was the first GTA game to be featured on the PSP, along with being the first GTA game to offer online multiplayer, thus setting off the common trend for GTA Online.
Antonio, how wonderful to see you!
What's going on?
We're having a party, dear boy, a party.
But what often gets left out is how the game delivered a quality open world experience and provided a somewhat engaging story. Regardless if you played this game on the PSP or PS2, anyone could see that Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories lacked the same quality of graphics and gameplay mechanics that were featured in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. But that doesn't mean that the game doesn't deserve some special mention. In this video, I will be discussing the significance and impact of Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories, along with explaining to you, the viewer, why this game is special beyond the obvious. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, check out my other GTA Retrospective videos as well.
We're finished. Men of honor like you and me.
Out of all the GTA games to come out over the last 2 decades, the ones released for the PSP were always obscure to me. It didn't help that at the time of the release I didn't own a PSP, so I didn't get a chance to play them until they were ported to the console. I don't know about you, but I missed out on the large library of games offered on the PSP. I just never really was into handheld consoles, and I'm still not to this day. But that doesn't mean that I wasn't a little bit interested when GTA Liberty City Stories hit the shelves. But in hindsight, it seems that the game was only made to provide Rockstar a presence on Sony's Entertainment Portable, which by this time was still relatively new. Unlike the previous entries, Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories wasn't bogged down by controversy. There were no demands for banning the game or complaints made by politicians or concerned parents related to the game's release. Most negative attention directed at Take-Two Interactive and Rockstar was focused more on the still controversial Hot Coffee mod for GTA San Andreas and of course Rockstar North's Bully, a game which plenty of people wanted banned. And coinciding with all this was the release of the PlayStation Portable. This handheld console was Sony's path to enter the handheld market, along with competing with Nintendo's handheld gaming systems. And for Rockstar, this was also a chance to break into the handheld market as well. Their previous attempts, well, weren't really that good. In fact, during the same year that GTA San Andreas was released, Rockstar went to work publishing GTA Advance, which was anything but advanced. By 2004, Take-Two Interactive were in the works of expanding the markets across the globe. The major new subsidiary acquired at this time was Rockstar Leeds, the former Mobius Entertainment. This development team would develop Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories, and the game would be released for the PSP in October 2005. The game would receive somewhat positive reviews, And while critics didn't quite overly praise the game, GTA Liberty City Stories still managed to sell over 900,000 units within 1 year on the PSP alone. In fact, GTA Liberty City Stories became the 16th highest selling game on the PSP. The game would do so well that it was given a double platinum award from the Entertainment and Leisure Software Publishers Association. I guess it was pretty easy at the time for me to generally ignore this game. I had only played the GTA games on the PS2, and frankly, I was a little frustrated that the latest entry in the series was not on the console. So as I further analyze this game, I will be coming to you with a pretty fresh perspective on it, as it was only recently that I was able to complete the game on both PSP and PlayStation 2. When it comes to the general graphics and gameplay, yeah, some things had to be scaled down. Beginning with the graphics, Rockstar Leeds elected to not use the renderware game engine that was used in the previous entries. Instead, they used an in-house engine known as the Leeds engine to create Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. The Leeds engine was almost the same as the renderware game engine, but it did a better job at rendering the particle effects of the PSP and thus was able to provide better graphics for Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. Now, this wasn't a total revision of the renderware game engine, as the Leeds engine did share some similar components to the ones found in the renderware engine, such as retaining the stream file formats, which allowed multiple moving vehicles and fully automated cutscenes to be rendered. At the same time, don't expect to be blown away on either system, as the visuals and audio are a far departure from the excellent graphics and cutscenes featured in games such as Grand Theft Auto Vice City or Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. But regardless, the PSP title still holds up. Gameplay wise, it's basically what you would expect. You control Tony Cipriani and can make him do terrible things. As with the previous games, Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories still retains the sense of freedom and independence that gamers crave. You can choose to complete all the main missions, but you can also just mess around and pull off shooting sprees. You can get yourself into high-speed car chases with police and get your wanted level up to 6 stars. And on top of all those distractions, you can earn money by completing familiar side missions such as driving a taxi cab, performing vigilante work, and competing in illegal street races. All these side missions are a great way to earn extra funds. Liberty City Stories also grants players a few additional things to do. For instance, after you finish up all the main missions for Mrs. Cipriani, Tony's mother, you're then tasked with surviving multiple attempts of your life, as Mrs. Cipriani has ordered a hit on her only son.
I've called a hit on you. It's really the only way, I tell you.
What? Ma?
You were always a disobedient boy. It's for the best, son. At least try to die like a real man. Try to stop.
Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories also retained many details in the previous games that made the series successful, such as offering players a wide variety of weapons and vehicles to use throughout the game, and also offering a convenient taxi to take after you fail a mission. In terms of difficulty, some fans might be put off by the lack of difficult missions in the game. While there is a slight learning curve for a few missions, most of them in the game can be completed with relative ease. So don't expect a whole lot of multi-tiered missions, as they are pretty short. At the time, the real selling feature of the game would have been the online multiplayer modes built into the PSP version. Liberty City Stories included around 7 different multiplayer modes. You had modes such as the classic Survivor, where the player has to shoot it out with other players. You also had the Protection Racket mode, where players on opposing teams protected 4 limousines at a car dealership. Here, players were meant to sneak past or blast each other into the opposing team's car dealership and destroy the limos as quickly as possible. These modes would have been accessed through the multiplayer menu. Players were granted full reign over the game's large islands. Additionally, players were also able to sprint continuously whenever playing with friends, along with the ability to pick up any weapons sewn into the street corners. Multiplayer would have also featured around 60 unlockable characters and an equal number of outfits. I can only speak about these modes so much since I didn't have a PSP when the game came out, and unfortunately Rockstar Leeds didn't include the online modes on the PlayStation 2 port. Pretty surprising since the PS2 had online support, but whatever.
I just had a tip-off that the cops are gonna raid us!
So? You got a license?
Not for some of the shit that goes on here. Salvatore is here, paying my girls a special visit, you know? We gotta get him out of here before the cops arrive. Meet him out front.
Never a dull moment.
Now that we discussed the graphics and gameplay, let's overview the story connected to Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. Much like Grand Theft Auto 3, the story of Liberty City Stories is told in small portions of cutscenes and dialogue featured in the game. The story itself revolves around the struggles between the multiple criminal organizations trying to gain the upper hand in Liberty City. Most of it is geared towards discussing the rivalry between Sicilian mafia families that inhabit the city. Timeline-wise, Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories is a prequel to GTA 3, taking place in 1998, 3 years before the arrival of Claude Steele. In this game, you play as Anthony Cipriani. Upon returning home, the outcast mobster Tony Cipriani takes up work for the Leone crime family, a longtime associate and one of the chief mafia families of Liberty City. Working under Don Salvatore Leone, Tony assists the Leone family in taking control of Liberty City. Along the way, Tony has to perform multiple jobs for the jealous capo regime Vincenzo Celle.
Mama, I'll call you later. Yeah,
Vincenzo.
yeah, of course, of course. I'm being a good boy. Love you. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, sweetheart. Give it a rest now. Here, now get out of here. A little trompetto for you. Hey, who loves you, Angel?
You do, Vinny.
Is that your mother on the phone?
Sure.
You're disgusting. Where's your respect?
Respect. I call it multitasking, Antonio.
He also reconnects with a former Sindaco Mafia member, JD.
Hey, JD, you little sicko, get the fuck out of here before I come in here and break your legs.
I'm coming! Oh, but not like that! Hey, Tony, ¿qué pasa? Huh? Give us a hug.
Whoa, you're sticky.
Under Vincenzo, Tony assists the Leone family in matters such as killing members of the Sindaco crime family. Eventually, Vincenzo's jealousy gets the best of him and he tries to set Tony up by getting him to pick up a car full of drugs. Under JD, Tony must gather money from hookers working in the Liberty City's red light district. He also has to rescue Don Salvatore from a potential police raid at JD's bar. Additionally, Tony has to protect the Leone-controlled casino from Sindacos and blow up one of their own rackets. And if he wasn't busy enough, he also has to gain back his mother's respect once again. Since he's a low ranking of the family, she practically disowns him.
You no more, Tony. You shame your Sicilian roots. After you took that photo of Casa, he stopped paying his protection money. And what are you doing about it? Nothing. Your father would have turned him into meatballs by now. Casa might be a bit funny, but it takes guts to snub a Cipriani.
And in response to this, Tony does whatever he can to gain his mother's respect and approval back. This comes in the form by killing or embarrassing rivals to his mother's affection. And even after he does all this, she still disowns him and even goes as far as putting a contract out on his life. Of course, Tony doesn't remain a low-ranking member of the family for long. After assisting Don Salvatore with a ferryman's workers' labor dispute and watching out for his trophy wife Maria Latour, Tony works his way up to soldier for the Leone family. He fully earns the family's trust by rescuing Don Salvatore after being kidnapped and massacring Sindacos. Eventually, he even gets wise to a plan made by a rival mobster to take over the Leone-controlled territory. And from here, Don Salvatore sets him up on the task to control the mayor's office by helping real estate tycoon Donald Love get elected as the new city's mayor.
Antonio, que pasa, amigo?
You do know I'm Italian, don't you, Don? Not Spanish?
Of course. How silly of me. I just love all the Romance languages. My God, this is good. It tastes just like chicken, but somehow more, sentient. You want?
I already ate, thanks.
Too bad. It's fantastic. I have some more delicacies about to be served. The liberals would have a field day, of course, but how little they know of life's real pleasures.
Not everyone is too thrilled about Tony's recent promotion. Soon Vincenzo shows his true nature and tries to set Tony up for an ambush. very similar to the way Sonny Forelli tried setting up Tommy Vercetti.
You son of a bitch! Why can't you just die already? You should have never come back, Tony. I worked my fingers to the bone for Salvatore, and you just come wandering back to town, and he's all Tony this and Tony that. This is my town, Tony! My town! You ain't taking it away from me! I'm gonna enjoy this.
But unfortunately for Vincenzo, Tony survives the ambush, and he is killed by Tony in the process. Sensing division within the Leone ranks, the other non-Italian gangs begin their assault on Leone-controlled rackets, one of them being the Diablos, who attacked the Leone-controlled brothel in the Red Light District. And while this is going on, the LCPD, under the directives of the mayor, launch a full raid on Dal Salvatore's home. It's here where Tony is tasked with assassinating the mayor, Roger C. Hull. And after completing this mission, Tony becomes a made man, and his mom finally calls off the hit.
I'm back! Back from the dead, Tony, risen in you like a phoenix from the ashes. Like Lazarus. Yes, Lazarus, love. I'm gonna be rich again. Panlantic are gonna pay me a fortune to see the deal through. We did it, Tony.
Whatever.
It's time for a little soiree with a very exclusive guest list. Come on.
Now, normally I wouldn't get too far into the story or characters like this, but I would like to point out the various ways that this game contributed to the overall story of the GTA world. When this game came out in 2005, it actually provided a lot of extra details related to Liberty City's fictional history. And for fans of the series, there are a lot of callbacks to the events which took place in the previous games, beginning with the protagonist Tony Cipriani. How crazy was it that Rockstar decided to use this minor character from GTA 3 as a playable character? I mean, sure, he isn't voiced by Michael Manson, but who cares? Although Tony was a minor character in GTA 3 who you only saw for about 4 missions, he still had a pretty good presence on the screen. And the detail that was truly memorable was the back and forth banter between he and his mother, Maria Cipriani. And within Liberty City Stories, Rockstar would continue this banter, in a way that was even more dramatic than the third game. Fans of the series see firsthand where Tony's hatred of the Triad games actually stems from. Overall, it comes from the fact that he's trying to impress his own mother.
Ma! Ma! Come on, Ma, speak to me!
There's no more here for you no more, you coward. You can't fool me. I know why you don't move back in here. You're running scared of some triad. Your father, God rest his soul, wouldn't let no one run him out of his own home.
Ma!
But unlike you, your father wasn't yellow. Until the triad showed you some respect, you're no son of mine. A daughter, maybe, but not a son.
Another part of the GTA grand narrative featured in Liberty City Stories is the rivalry between the Leone family and the Forelli family. We first heard mention of the Forelli family within GTA 3. In that game, they were referred to more as the Forelli brothers. Well, within this game, we learn a lot more about their decline. By this point, we already knew that the family began declining after the death of Sonny Forelli at the hands of Tommy Vercetti at the Vercetti estate in 1986 within GTA Vice City. We also know that his brother Marco Forelli was slayed by Carl Johnson in 1992 at Marco's Bistro within GTA San Andreas. Now, within Liberty City Stories, we see the Forellis contend with the rival Sindaco family, and when peace is nearly brokered, Tony Cipriani is sent to ruin the meeting and peace agreement. And after the death of the Don for the Sindaco family, Paulie Sindaco, the Forelli forces led by Franco Forelli continue their war with the Sindaco clan. But eventually their main base of operations in Little Italy is utterly destroyed due to an underground explosion caused once again by Tony Cipriani. It's not clear if Franco Forelli died in the explosion, but it's clear that the Forellis could not recover from this series of unfortunate events, with the explosion being the main catalyst. And that's why by GTA 3 they are referred to as the Forelli brothers. The Forellis in this game definitely had a lot more presence since they did in fact control the mayor's office prior to Tony killing the mayor. But very soon after the death of Roger C. Hull, the Forellis were able to install a new mayor, Miles O'Donnell, who was instrumental in having Salvatore Leone arrested. And at the time when Salvatore was in jail, the Forellis were actually using the tunnel located beneath Liberty City to stockpile weapons. If not for the mission under Donald Love where you have to blow up the area, the events of GTA 3 would have been told differently. And speaking of Donald Love, who by 2005 would have been making his third appearance in the GTA series, let's discuss his role within the game. We know that Donald Love was the once protege of real estate tycoon Avery Carradine within GTA Vice City. From Avery Carradine, Love learned to use any method to bring down the price of property, whether it be setting up illegal demolitions or starting gang wars. It's believed that Love began his business, Love Media, between 1986 and 1998. In 1998, he decides he wants to be mayor of Liberty City and begins working with Don Salvatore Leone to get elected. Directly after having Tony kill the mayor, he directs Tony to assist in his campaign by basically doing whatever reckless thing he can do. These tasks include killing rival campaigners, destroying voting machines, and etc. Eventually, Love is discovered to have alleged ties to organized crime, and he loses the election to Miles O'Donovan. You might remember Donald Love as a cool and collected businessman who practices Tai Chi in his free time, but in this game, he really falls off the deep end personality-wise. The first mission Tony performs for Love is to steal a fresh corpse from an ambulance truck, which was pretty random. I mean, since when was he a cannibal? After the election, he is flat broke. He invested all his money into the campaign, and with that, he is forced to move into a flop house in Shoreside Vale. In order to regain his wealth, he hires Tony to kill his former mentor, Avery Carradine, to steal redevelopment plans for Fort Stockton. And being a cannibal, he also tasks Tony with acquiring the body of Avery to die on. Later on, Don hires Tony to clear out the Little Italy section of Fort Stockton by using explosives purchased and installed by 8-Ball, the explosive experts from GTA 3. It appeared at the time that Love made out pretty good. By having his former mentor Avery Carradine killed, he faced direct reprisal from the group who was protecting Avery, the Colombian cartel. From this point on, the cartel would establish themselves in more areas of the city, since the Forellis and Sadakos were severely weakened by their own war. The cartel begins by setting up in Love's former mansion in Cedar Grove, after Love is forced to flee. And this explains why the incendiary millionaire was living in Love Media headquarters in GTA 3. Grand Theft Auto Liberty City stories might seem limited story-wise, but there are plenty of little details that can be pieced together across multiple games. And as a fan of the series, I generally enjoy being able to place characters, events, and actions together. Rockstar Leeds did a great job in continuing the strong narrative that Grand Theft Auto games were known for. Now, I'm not sure where you stood on GTA Liberty City stories at the time, but I can tell you that I honestly regret not having a PSP when this game came out. Yes, it lacks the depth of previous GTA games in that the game is generally shorter and easier. It also doesn't have the best graphics when compared to other games as well. But what it did provide was a quintessential open world experience that gave players a sense of freedom. It allowed fans of the series to re-experience Liberty City and immerse themselves into the grand narrative of the GTA world. With the success of Grand Theft Auto Liberty Cities, Rockstar Leeds would begin work on their next game for the GTA series, Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories, the topic for the next retrospective video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching, and if you haven't, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that bell for more notifications. This is Bob of Smoking Fiend Productions signing off.